Hey everybody, welcome to Smokin Bulls, the podcast about business, money, and lifestyle. I'm Tyler.
I'm Dave.
And today we're here to chat about our latest Market Insights newsletter that just was launched for November. It's always written by Dr. Jim Thorne. He's an excellent read, so if you haven't read one, I encourage you to do so. This month's newsletter seems to be all about AI and the boom around that industry. And there's a lot of chatter now in mainstream media about it being a bubble. I think Jim's pointing out here that we're really not in a bubble. We're at very early innings of the development of the AI industry.
Yeah, I think a lot of the article kind of reflects on, things that have happened in the past during big expansion periods and big bubble periods. And I think he's pointing out that this is kind of in, like you said, in the beginning, the new side of this business. It's expanding rapidly. If anything, he said, there's capacity issues that we're never going to catch up for quite some time. There will be pullbacks in the markets as developments happen and as some firms will be replaced by other firms that can't keep up. But I think one of the biggest things I got out of this is these things are all coming together as one piece. I mean, we always talk about how all countries' policies are all striving towards the same thing. He really kind of reflects on this is power, this is AI, this is energy, this is national security. And if you can't get it right, you're not going to have enough power to power your energy. You're not going to have enough energy to have the power you need for this infrastructure. So that's one of the points I got of this, that's where the big push is.
Yeah, I found a lot of comments in regards to lack of power to run the demand for AI right now. So I guess he does allude to Canada being a nation full of resources and how we should be able to capitalize on power generation because there's this massive demand for power. And even in the last week, you've seen the U.S. enter into agreements to continue with nuclear reactor construction, something that really hasn't been done a lot over the last few decades. But this demand for power is so great that it's going to have to happen. And hopefully Canada can recognize that. And I think one of his comments in the article is about building not just for the country, but for the planet.
Yeah.
So that's
exciting. I think he's not putting much political in there because I think that's not what he does. But I mean, you tie all the pieces together here, and what we have is a country that could be poised to take advantage of this, but we've not been really good at moving quickly in Canada. It takes a long time to get anything done. There's a lot of barriers sitting as far as laws right now that really restrict the ability to chase after some of this energy building infrastructure. And, quite interesting. I mean, that energy deal with the nuclear reactors in the United States was Brookfield, which Canadian company, but now has a head office in New York and is tied to, our Prime Minister Carney. But yet here in Canada, we have a hard time getting anything kind of moving like that. So I think if Canada can get themselves moving, yes, we might be able to assume that top tier energy provider for the world. But if we don't, I mean, that's part of what's in this article is it's moving fast. And if you can't position yourself,
you're left behind.
You're left behind, and not just as economically, but as a country, you will, this is security of your country. So if you look at the size of Canada, the abundance of resources that we have that are all critical to making all of this happen, I think we'd be fools, but we'd be foolish not to be able to figure out a way how to move to this not new market, but this market that's moving so fast that needs the energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess from an investor perspective, he's very quick to point out that he doesn't feel that we're in an AI bubble. I think when there's been a lot of growth in an industry, it's easy for mainstream media to key in on that and say, hey, yeah, this is a bubble. You're at the peak. Don't buy now. But he's referencing things like the capital expenditure that's happening in the U.S. and all the tax incentives that the Trump administration has put in place to encourage capital expenditure continue to 2031, I think is in there. So there's a lot of money being spent in the AI field. So I think he's saying from an investment perspective, get in now. There's going to be peaks and valleys in there that happen traditionally with any kind of marketplace. But he's saying for the next 5 or 6 years, we're not in a bubble now. We got 5 or 6 years still ahead of us in this.
Yeah. And I think one of the pieces here is it's not even just, money going, infrastructure money going into AI. I guess you could call it AI related things, but it goes all the way down to power, nuclear, whatever way they're going to bring their power on, oil and gas. That's what they're going to due. I think somewhere last week was kind of suspension of, it almost felt like some environmental checks that they, have in the States that they'll set those aside for a short period of time. I think it was copper, that they realize that copper is a must. And, I think over the past 20 years, maybe 30 with globalization, we've kind of all just relied on swapping products between different countries. And now with this kind of being a bit of a race, it feels like everybody's now starting to hoard and develop their own because they don't feel they can rely on another country to produce that. And I think Canada being so connected to the United States, that the opportunity for Canada is there as a trusted partner. I know we're going through quite the problems here to try and get some trade deals and things of that nature. But ultimately, the U.S. is right next door. And when you move energy around the globe, it gets expensive. We have trouble even with a discount on Alberta's price of oil because how far it has to go in a pipeline before it gets refined. I mean, it cuts into the price. So I think all of these things will come to play here. How do you invest for it, I think, is what was discussed in the article as well, in the newsletter.
Yeah. So it's a great newsletter. It's encouraging. He feels that we're in a super cycle that's at the early beginnings. It's going to go into the next decade. So sitting on the sidelines now, in his opinion, is not the place to be. He's kind of like a risk-on positioning right now. So I guess we'll see if it plays out the way he says it will.
Yeah. I mean, we went through the bubble of the .com. I think he referenced back to that too. And that, the difference is some of the very large tech companies that we all look to now are very well diversified. This isn't just an expansion of something no one's ever seen. We're into something new, but these companies are heavily involved in that. And I think they can diversify and, impact on different parts of the business doesn't sink a company like it did back then.
Yeah, they're way more diversified. The Googles of the world, the Meta platforms, all those companies are way more diversified. One spoiled project doesn't sink the ship now. Whereas .com, that was what it was like. They were.
Well, look at Tesla. Who still sees it as a car company? Most people. Effectively, it's an AI company, but, we focus on that. And then you see that the sales of certain parts of Tesla's cars are down and the company's in trouble. Well, I think they've moved on to a whole other field, at least that, and that's the direction they want to go too, right? So I think people will start to see most of all of those companies be, I guess, call them AI style companies with just tentacles into everything else that's related to that AI structure.
Yeah, so it's a great article. It should be out today for November. Take a read of it. And if you want to learn more, click on our socials. And thanks for watching.